Hello and welcome to LSU Focus. It is post-match reaction show time after Liverpool have just booked their place in the Club World Cup final in the most dramatic circumstances possible. Once again, Liverpool have won a game by 2-1, and as usual, the goal has come under huge pressure right at the end of the game to win it for Liverpool in stoppage time. That's just how we do things these days. I mean, the match was a lot more difficult than I think any of us expected it to be. You can go back to my pre-match video and make me as much humble pie as you want. Make me eat my words, because I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near this difficult. I thought Monterrey had caused problems. I thought they'd probably get a goal. Sorry. But I expected Liverpool to find it so much easier to break through their defence. As it was, they had such a clear and really good, to be fair to them, game plan that they executed absolutely brilliant. I think they acknowledged straight away that they weren't the better team, that Liverpool were the better side with the better players, and if both teams took a similar approach to the game, it would almost definitely be Liverpool who would come out on top. But they had an idea of how to get around that, and yeah, it was parking the bus at times, it was packing the box and stuff like that, and playing a really thick, wide, many-playered back line. But they did it very, very well as well. You know, this Premier League campaign so far has proved that when teams do come up against Liverpool and try and just play a low block, it doesn't always work. You've got to do it well. You've got to be smart. And Monterrey were like that. I thought they were absolutely fantastic for the first 90 minutes of the game, and then to be fair to them, I just don't think they've got the legs. You know, the subs Liverpool are able to bring on are on a completely different level to what Monterrey have got to offer as the game gets into its closing stages. You know, being able to bring on Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Roberto Firmino, all of whom made a difference. I feel like Mane really gave us that lift, that extra creative force that also allowed Salah to get a little bit further forward as well. Then Trent Alexander-Arnold coming on and being that creative outlet from out wide that we've been missing as well. You know, Milner had a decent performance but wasn't really offering the same kind of thing that Alexander-Arnold is capable of. He hasn't got that vision. He hasn't got that fantastic technique in terms of crossing the ball into the box for players to run onto. And then, of course, Firmino, that extra bit of energy. He sees the space. He runs into it. He diverts it past the goalkeeper. And Liverpool are through to the World Cup final in incredible circumstances. Like I said, it's just how Liverpool do things these days. And it is testament to how brilliant Jurgen Klopp is as a manager and how brilliant this set of players is. This isn't luck anymore. This isn't just Liverpool having a good year or something like that. This is simply a case of Liverpool knowing how to grind out wins no matter what. We have seen this team win in every conceivable way possible, and they were really up against it today. At times they weren't at their best as well. You know, at times Monterrey were causing us some serious problems, and I think a lot of that is down to the personnel we had available. We were clearly up against the cosh in terms of what we had with defenders. Jordan Henderson playing out of position was always going to cause Liverpool a few problems. Same with James Milner as well. I thought the pair of them actually played all right. The issue was what it led to in the midfield, which was a very unbalanced three in the middle who weren't really capable of doing the jobs that we see from players like Henderson, Fabinho, Milner and Wijnaldum, where the fullbacks bomb on. We were trying to still do that, but what would happen then is the midfield three would drop into those spaces. You see Henderson almost become a right back or an extra centre back at times. Same with Gini Wijnaldum on the other side. And because of the midfielders we had on today, with Lallana playing deep and then Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain a little bit further forward, that's just not their style. It's not the kind of thing they do. And we were getting caught out as a result. You know, Monterrey were finding all sorts of space down the flanks, and it was causing problems for Jordan Henderson and for James Milner and for the other defenders as well. You know, fair play to Joe Gomez, who played most of the game at least on a yellow card, or at least a significant portion of it. He was clearly being targeted by Monterrey after that yellow card. They saw a way of getting a man sent off for Liverpool and causing us yet another serious problem. And I thought he played through that issue very, very well indeed, especially given that the referee performance wasn't great, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think at times he was willing to just give anything so long as a player hit the deck. As soon as a player went down, and it was, if I'm being honest, I don't want to sound biased, but it was mostly Monterrey players who were lobbing themselves to the floor, and that was part of their game plan as well. You know, slowing it down, trying to turn the game into something that was stagnant, that Liverpool couldn't really thrive in, and it worked for them. The referee ended up playing into their hands. There was that moment towards the end where a player goes down with cramp and the referee stops play. I've got no idea what he does that for, so it wasn't a great performance from the referee either. And like I said, Monterrey were fantastic. So Liverpool were really, really up against it today, and for the first hour it just wasn't really clicking for us. I think the goal that we score right at the start is absolutely fantastic. Of course, Mo Salah, the vision to play that ball through the legs of a defender winner as well, and then to split the entire defence apart. That was the kind of goal I thought we'd score more of today, because it's the kind of goal that Al Sadd was scoring. But obviously as soon as that goes in, Monterrey realise they've got to be more compact. It's almost as if that old adage of scoring early actually did come back to bite Liverpool here, because Monterrey was so much more compact and defensively careful, and they watched those areas like a hawk for the rest of the game, which meant Liverpool just couldn't score that same goal again. But the actual play for the goal was brilliant. Like I said, the ball from Salah through the legs, the vision and the execution of that is sublime. And then the run from Naby Keita, the finish as well. That's what someone like Keita can offer you, that extra run from deep. And of course, it does leave you, as a result, a little bit more exposed at the back. As I said, the fullbacks weren't getting the same kind of cover, which does mean we have to slightly change our style of play. We can't go out wide as much. We can't whip the ball into the box. And as a result, we do try and play down the middle again. I think that did play into Monterrey's hands a little bit. They didn't want us getting out wide and whipping crosses in that would force their defenders into making clearances. They were much more happy controlling the spaces in the middle of the park. But the goal was brilliant. The goal we then concede, not great, is it? I think it's hard to really search for someone to blame. I think it's just a case of the entire defence switching off. You know, when a goal scorer, clearly their main goal scoring threat, I think, what's his name, Rodrigo Funes Mori's even more evil twin playing up front for Monterrey. When he's 6 yards out from goal, you've got to be watching him. You've got to be stopping that ball from ever getting to him in the first place, or at least putting him off long enough that Alisson can get back and make some sort of save. I was disappointed, you know, for Alisson that he was left exposed by his defence there, because he really deserves better, and he almost saves it anyway. He obviously makes that fantastic fingertip save in the first half as well, which would have almost definitely been a goal as the ball's played across goal. If he doesn't get that tiniest of touches on it to push it behind the Monterrey forward, then they're 2-1 up, and the game could have been, you know, an even more different story. I think if they'd taken the lead, especially in the second half, I was really starting to worry, because I thought if they go a goal up here, I can't see us getting back into it, because they're not going to open up. They are just going to go even more defensive. They're going to protect what they have, and it will be almost impossible for Liverpool to break them down, because they've got that combination of being very, very tactically astute defensively, and also having the quality to, when Liverpool actually bring some real quality to the party, Monterrey could match it for the vast majority of the game. I thought Mo Salah was a standout player for a lot of it. I think it's really interesting when Liverpool do this thing of only playing one of the star forwards, or at least one of the star wingers. When Mane or Salah drops out the side, it looks like the other one's flourishing a lot more, and you'd be mistaken, I think, for thinking that that is because they don't play well together, they don't gel. I think it's much more a fact that both of them are talismanic footballers, and as a result, both of them are trying to be that creative force, and when only one of them's on the pitch, you've got other players like Origi, Shaqiri, Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, who are all aware they're not as good as Mohamed Salah, but they can thrive off of his brilliance, and that's where you get the runs like Naby Keita makes for the goal. You get players who see what Mohamed Salah's going to do and think, well, I can take advantage of that myself and I can get the goal. Whereas Sadio Mane, if he was in that situation, would, I imagine, at least more be thinking about what he can do to create chances. He'll be thinking about getting the ball and giving it to Divock Origi, or splitting the defence and getting it through to Mohamed Salah again. It's a similar situation to what we had with the derby, where Sadio Mane, because he was the only star forward on the pitch, because Firmino and Salah had once again been rested, he looks like a much better player because everything goes through him and everyone's trying to thrive off of him as well. Whereas when all the front three are on the pitch, it's more of a collaborative effort. They're all trying to feed into one another, and at times all of them are trying to be creative, and it can set us back a little bit. And that's what I think is important about having someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold on the pitch, who can be creative as well and forces Mo Salah to get further forward and play inside a little bit more, forces Firmino to get into those areas that the goal comes from. Same with Sadio Mane as well. You know, Liverpool eventually worked out what it was that they needed to break Monterrey down, and they worked it out in the nick of time as well to get that goal that puts us through. So yeah, it was a tough game. Like I said, a lot tougher than I expected, and a lot of credit has to go to Monterrey. I don't think we can criticise Jurgen Klopp too much for the way the game went. You can maybe say the substitutions should have come earlier, but given the way the game panned out towards the end, it seems like he got it absolutely spot on. It seems like he brought Firmino on at the right time, because it's Firmino who has the energy, the speed, the desire to get to that ball before every single one of those other players. All of those Monterrey centre-backs have played like 90 minutes. They're leggy. They're not expecting someone like Roberto Firmino to suddenly dash in front of them. They're expecting someone like Divock Origi, who's been on the pitch as well and won't have the energy and the desire to get there. But Liverpool had strength in depth today, which is remarkable given just how thin our squad is getting, and that is starting to become a little bit of a concern. I think we saw today that we are essentially potentially one more defensive injury away from being in serious trouble and potentially dropping some points in the league, getting dumped out of the FA Cup and stuff like that. But in the meantime, hopefully Virgil van Dijk will be back and fine for the next game. I'm really crossing my fingers for Gini Wijnaldum. I've got no idea when he's next going to be back, but I think we did miss him today as well, just keeping things a little more steady and balanced in midfield and also offering a little bit more defensively. So yeah, today did expose that Liverpool's depth is now about as far as it can possibly go. We're now in a position where any more injuries, and we are in a difficult position, we haven't got the substitutes to come off the bench. We haven't got a full strength starting 11 that we can put out with full confidence. But as it stands, Liverpool are fine. Liverpool are through to the Club World Cup. It was difficult, but we got there. And in some ways, that's the best way to win a football match, especially at this stage, at the highest stage possible, when the stakes are high, when trophies as big as the World Cup are on the line. And I think after that game, none of us are in any doubt. We want this trophy now. We want to have that little patch on the shirt that says World Champions. We want to be able to parade it around the rest of the country, the continent, the world for another year. We're all really, really invested in it now. And Liverpool are on the march, hopefully, to their first ever Club World Cup. But in the meantime, that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. Let me know what you thought about the performance down in the comments below. Apart from that, hit the like button down there as well if you're new around here. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Hit that subscribe button there if you're new around here. Check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days. Don't forget to follow at LFC Focus TV on Twitter. And I'll be back soon for the pre-match content for that massive game against Flamengo on Saturday. Until then, bye for now.